Hello everyone, today's topic is currying. So currying in JavaScript is a functional programming technique that transforms a function taking multiple arguments into a sequence of functions, each taking single argument. So in this example you can see sum is taking multiple arguments and we can transform this into a curried sum which will be a sequence of functions each taking single argument. So why we do this is because it allows partial application of functions and this leads to a flexible and reusable code. So now our question is to create a JavaScript curry function that will convert any function into a curried function. So for that, let's start. What we know is we will return a function. Let's take its arguments, and if the argument's length is greater than or equal to function dot length that we require to call the function is satisfied, we will just call the function with the arguments, and also we need to return this. If not, we will have to return a function, because you can see in this part we need to return a function so that it can be called again with 2 and 3. So we need to return a function again that will give us next arguments, and now we will just call the function with arguments, or we can just call this curried function with arguments plus next arguments. So now this will need to be written. This will check again. This will call this, and this will check again if our arguments are there. The function will be called. Otherwise, another function will be returned with these next arguments and arguments attached. So here, if we run this code, you see. Now we will give placeholder support to the curry function. So what is placeholder support? So without placeholder support, we give arguments from left to right, like first argument, then second argument, then third argument. Where without placeholder you can skip positions and fill them later in any order. So like you can give a placeholder, then second and another placeholder that specifies that 2 is at the second position, and later we can give 1 and 3 that will fill up like 1 2 3. First paste the basic curry function we made earlier. Now here you will see the arguments can be like this. That means it can contain placeholders. So if it does contain placeholder, it will not meet the requirement to call the function. So we need to have requirement met, check requirement met arguments, and if the requirements are met for this function to be called, we will call this function, and if not, we will return the function where here these arrays will be containing placeholders as well, like this, and the second one will be like something like this. So we need to merge these two functions, like const merged arguments, merge two arguments, where we will give the arguments and we will spread the merged arguments. So first we will make the check requirement met function. For that we are taking an array of arguments, and if the argument length is not what we need in the function, it will automatically be not satisfying. So function length, and here we will get the function's length. If args.length is less than length we need, we'll just return false. Else we will check for every element till the length. For like in the argument, for the first length positions there should be no curly placeholders. So let I is equal to 0, I should be less than length plus. If we found any arguments that is placeholder, we will return false as well, else return true. Simple. So our first L arguments should not be a placeholder. That will result to be true. Then we will need to make merge two arguments. This will take two argument arrays, and so for this will be merged as like if there is a placeholder, it will check in the next argument for the value. If it is placeholder, we will just replace it with placeholder or leave it as it is. Then we will come to the one, and as we already have the value, we will just move past it, and for the second placeholder we will add 3. So let's make a resultant arguments that we will return of arguments, and we will loop. Okay, so what we can do is we can make a two pointer approach here. While I is smaller than arguments dot length and j is smaller than next arguments dot length, we can check if arguments of I, that is the first one, is not equal to curly dot placeholder. That means we already have a value. We will just add this to our resultant argument, and we will just move this ahead. If not, that means it is a placeholder. We'll check in the next argument, or we can just replace it with the next argument one. So respond argument dot push next argument of j. Here for this we will push this, and then we will push 1 here, and for this we will push 3, and we will just move on. Now if there are any left, we need to add those. Need to add these and next arguments. Let's run this. Yes, it works. Thank you for watching this video, and do like, share and subscribe this video.